also, before we dive into this, wanted to really briefly address a topic that's probably top of mind for a couple of folks in the room, and that is the topic of divestment. We are not divesting from any investments in response to the student referendum that was passed earlier this year. Our primary objective, which Robert will talk about later, is to generate strong adjusted returns for the University of Virginia. We do not utilize divestment or negative screens for non-financial reasons. So I just wanted to make that clear since I have the mic.
I represent the faculty, and the faculty representative represent many faculty who think we should divest. Could you just talk really briefly, is this something you just won't do, you can't do, some combo of both? Just so as I report to my faculty, the position of this.
Some combination. We have an advisory committee on investor responsibility to hear arguments for divestment. This is something that we set up multiple years ago as faculty engagement on it. So we do hear arguments for it. We do not like using our investment strategy as a means of expressing a moral political opinion. Walking through the model with which we invest, it would also be very difficult. We have 85 external managers. We don't often have perfect visibility into their underlying positions. And it would be, in some instances, very difficult to renegotiate investment management agreements with them to add a screen like this. What did I leave out? Oh, and finally, it's questionable as to whether or not we're even allowed to under Virginia state law. And there's been an opinion provided by Virginia's, I think, Attorney General this summer as to the question of whether that would even be legal to consider non-pecuniary factors in our investment policy.
I appreciated your comments on divestment, but I was wondering how you're thinking about exposure to China, and what if the federal government were to ban TikTok and ByteDance or name other private companies as arms of the communist government. How are you thinking about exposure in those instances?
Yeah, that's, along with AI, it's probably a top 2 or 3 topic within our investment team meetings. Our exposure has come down. It probably peaked around 12.5% in 21. Largely through strong performance is how it got to 12.5%. It used to be a market characterized by high alpha and good growth rates. It is now roughly 7% of the pool. So we've been actively reducing our exposure on the liquid side. Of course, it's also come down through relative performance. Chinese markets have not performed well versus the US and the rest of the world since then. We've not made a new private commitment to China. I think the trend is a concerning one. And certainly investors have not been paid to take that risk over the last 3 to 5 years, and we're not seeing great signs that that's going to change.